Hi, my name is Greg Draculis, and I am class of 2012 computer science major.
I'm Brandon Grace, MIS, class of 2011.
I'm Evan Darovich, MIS, class of 2011.
And I'm Alex Larson, mechanical engineer, class of 2010.
All right, here's the business overview. Voyager uses technology as a source of competitive advantage, and we want to further this more. One of the points we want to touch on is an advanced public and private website. I'll talk about that more in a second. And Voyager says that it grows at 50% annually, which means that in 4.5 years, your revenue will double. So we think it's important for your network to be scalable and be able to meet demand in that time frame. The number of employees will increase, and the number of product lines offered will also increase as well. And we think in the future that your company will need to interact with outside agents and consultants and maybe even merge or acquire other companies. Here are the different user types. They will have different access levels because they have different needs of the network.
Some key components of your network is its scalability. With your considerable growth, you'll be adding internal users, which will increase your bandwidth internally, and you'll also be adding external users, such as your mobile workers, and more clients. Reliability is key. You need your network to be up so that your outside users can access it, so that your customers can call in. Mobility is key for your mobile users, such as your sales reps and any claims adjusters that leave the building. Security is very key because you have a lot of critical user data. And efficiency, you want to do fast business at a low cost.
So we're going to jump into taking a look at your network hardware that we spec'd out for you. As a router, we've decided on the Juniper MX240. It's going to serve as your backbone switch as well as your edge router. It's got redundant routing engines and switching fabrics. Redundant power, it can be configured with up to 4 power supplies. Very efficient cooling, again, redundant. And it's the smallest in its class, and we think it's perfect for the Metro Ethernet that we expect out coming into your building. As far as security goes, at the head end of the network, we spec'd out a Juniper ISG 1000 unit. It's purpose-built as an integrated security gateway. That's what the ISG stands for in its name. It provides firewall, VPN, and intrusion detection and prevention all in one unit. It's got support for different security zones, logical zones within the network that you can configure in the software, and it's got up to a gig per second throughput and 1,000 concurrent VPN tunnels. Sounds like a lot, especially when you are thinking that you've only got 150 users plus maybe 30 in your outside offices. By the way, we haven't done any WAN optimization, or we looked at private lines for your outside offices, but we figured that was not necessary since you said in your response to our questions that you only have 10 users at each of those remote sites. So we just figured they would be coming in over the network. So we decided on about 200 users as a good number for your VPN. And we spec'd out this 1,000 because you'll be growing and you'll need to deal with pandemic situations, catastrophic situations where your users may be at home. Especially that's an especially relevant concern with all the problems with swine flu. Your business may be shut down for days if that turns into a deadly situation. You don't want your employees putting the other employees in your business at risk. So this box also provides all your network, internet, and application layer protection. We have these IC4500s as well. We recommend doing a cluster pair because these support up to 500 users each. These are your UAC NAC boxes here. They allow for granular control as well as remediation. They secure your wireless network that you're going to have, protect against internal threats, and control your VPN. And as far as your switches, we've got 2 different types of switches. That is actually incorrect. That's supposed to be a 4200-48T. I guess that's just mislabeled in the slide. But it's a 48-port switch. It supports virtual chassis technology. Got redundant power, cooling, and a redundant switching engine. It's got this particular model has 8 power over Ethernet ports available to add more cameras and phones. 14 of these will be used primarily for your computers, printers, and ID sensors. So that gives you 672 total ports from these models. That's plenty for expansion. And then here's the 4200-48Ps, which basically have the full 48 port of PoE for your VoIP phones and IP cameras. And 14 of these will be installed alongside the 48 Ts for your telephony and surveillance needs. Finally, we're going to talk a little bit about the virtual chassis technology. This enables distributed switch management. You can group up to 10 switches together, and they can be managed as if they were one chassis. We're recommending doing one chassis per floor of 6 switches each on floor 1 and floor 2, and 2 chassis of 8 switches each on floor 3 for your call center. And these switches can enforce your security policy at the endpoints through 802.1x. Push that to the end. So they are good for that. Here's a network diagram. It's for the judges. That is included in your packet. It's about the 4th page or so.
Okay, I'm going to talk about some other hardware, notably security and backup power. First, we are going to have a fingerprint scanner outside of every door into the building. This can either be used with a fingerprint, an RFID, or a PIN, or any combination of those. We'll have one at every door coming in, and also at the network closets. They can pretty much be set for different people, so the IT staff could be the only ones with access to the network closets, and the same machine could also be used to allow everyone up into the building. Each system has an integrated camera which takes a picture of whoever uses it. This could be used to keep track of who is entering the closet and if any unauthorized access is going on. The entire thing is administered from the network, so any computer on the web can, with access, can enroll people and remove people if needed. And it integrates well with Payrail, so you can actually, once someone enters the building, you know that they're there that day and they should get paid that day. We're also going to install a bunch of cameras around both inside and outside the building. These are IP-based. They pan, tilt, and zoom. We can have up to 50 cameras that can be viewed at the same time. And what is good about this is it can actually be viewed remotely, so you can outsource the entire security needs to an outside company who will monitor your own devices and pretty much handle all your security needs. And as I said earlier, we're going to have some exterior ones which will have exterior housings, which is also budgeted into this whole thing. So for backup power, pretty much in case there's a power outage, we want to make sure that every piece of equipment will still be able to run. Pretty much we're going to be using UPSs, which are uninterruptible power supplies. For the first floor server room, we're going to be using the Symetra LX. For the first floor and the second floor network closets, we're going to be using the Smart UPS XL. And then for the third floor, it's the Smart UPS VT. Each of these were decided based on the pieces of hardware connected to it, plus an additional 30% expandability. These 3 pieces of equipment will last for about 30 minutes, and we included a standby generator which will be able to supply power to the entire building indefinitely as long as enough diesel is available. What's important to remember is that this will give you more than enough time to get up, to back up all your information and to move it if necessary. Printing, we're going to have 3 different types of printers depending on the needs and the usages. We're going to be having 2 smaller ones, the Phaser X8560, which is a desktop printer. We're going to have 21 of those scattered throughout the building. We're also going to have 4 desktop Phaser X560 MFP, which is multifunction. These will be able to print, scan, and fax. And we'll also have 3 large network copier printers, which will be able to do high volume printing and copying. It's important to remember that all 3 of these are on the network, so they can be used from anywhere in the building. And the first 2 share the same ink cartridges, so that saves a lot of money when you can buy bulk of one type of cartridge and use it for multiple machines, which is very important.
Okay, this is just a lineup of the actual hardware per floor. We have cameras in all the offices and network closets, and then we have the access control units at all the entries and exits of the building. And this is the first floor. And then in the second floor, same setup with the different printer units deployed, and once again, access control unit at the network closet with a camera. And the third floor, a similar setup, and there is actually an access control unit for the network closet on that floor as well.
So Voyager is a high-tech company. So we're looking at letting you guys use technology as an asset rather than as just a cost that's going to end up costing you money. So this is going to be something that you can use to make money. As far as VoIP goes, we spec'd out several SwitchVox AA350 units. These have an open source API, so they can integrate with just about anything. They've got Firefox and Outlook plugins ready to go. These support fax, chat, video, and presence management, and it has mobile integration, so you can give out one number that forwards out back to your salespeople's cell phones, so you have that crucial intellectual property, so you don't have to worry about them putting their cell phone number on their business cards and remaining a contact after they leave your company. The key with this product, the reason we selected it though, is a web-based switchboard. You can access it from anywhere, and you can be switching calls to your colleagues, and you can be on the beach in Tahiti and be switching calls to your colleagues just as if you're in the same call center as everybody else via the web. And that's a key advantage with this. We spec'd out these phones, SoundPoint IP330, 350 for the call center, just low-end VoIP phones, IP560 for the higher-level employees, IP670s for the executives because they have a nice little color screen, and SoundStation 7000s. We picked out 5 of these for your conference rooms if you need to be conferencing with key clients. Those are HD voice, and the top 3 phones can use gigabit Ethernet.
For your website, we want to use it as more than just product information, basically just a sales brochure, which is what was done before. People will be able to purchase accounts online, and current customers can view their account info and billing info, as well as file claims online if they need to. Employees can access the private website over the internet and manage customer data if needed. And this eliminates the need for costly software, and we believe it helps convert your website as part of just something out there for people to see into something that's an asset for you.
This is a key, crucial part of our plan that allows you to go into the next generation of business. Cloud computing allows awesome scalability. You can host your servers in your office and use web services out in the cloud to bring up extra instances if your server goes offline, or actually do complete backup. This is the reliability part. You can do complete backup to those servers and bring your entire operation back online, even if your entire office is destroyed. It's platform agnostic access because this system that we're proposing is completely web-based. It does not matter whether you're on a Linux computer running Fedora or Ubuntu, or if you're running Firefox or Safari on a Windows or a Mac. It also offers enhanced data security because all of your data is going to be in the cloud. You don't have to worry about as much about endpoint threats because your crucial data is going to be available on the web. You log in via that, you authenticate. So if you disconnect them from that, they won't have like a document file on a thumb drive out at the endpoints that you really have to be worrying about. It's also very, very efficient. It's very low cost, and it takes some of your power requirements out of your main plant. So for your main servers, we're proposing 3 Apple X serves. These have redundant power, 2 power supplies, and redundant storage as well. They offer quad-core Xeon performance, very, very fast. Actually, I have 2 quad-core Xeons, 8 cores, so you can do server virtualization. You can be running a bunch of servers on these. We are suggesting 2 application servers, one running customer side in a DMZ configured by the ISG1000, and one running intranet side that can be running a radius server if you want it to, can be running mail, can be running LDAP, do whatever you want. They've got the power to do whatever you need. And one database and file server. This is configured a little bit differently with the hard drives. The judges can look in the handout we've given them that to look at its different configurations. It's configured with 3 terabytes with redundant 4 terabytes of RAID access via fiber channel from that. This would be running database software. This would be running XSAN for file sharing, and you can put your video feeds coming in from your IP cameras onto this unit. So for the rest of the servers, this is the cloud computer we're talking about. We suggest you use Amazon EC2 and S3, which stands for Elastic Compute Cloud and Simple Storage Service. These offer awesome scalability. You can put your server, you can configure a server and configure it for load balance. Set up a server exactly the way you want it, and configure load balancing to fire up 1 unit of it, 2 units of it, 20 units of it, 1,000 units of it. If your servers in your main office are getting hammered, you can fire up 20 instances of Amazon EC2 and point your DNS server at that instead, so it takes some load off of you. Also, if you're expanding and you need to double things, you can move one of your in-house servers over to the intranet side and move all of your internet based sites over to EC2 and fire those up. It's extremely cheap. It's 10 cents an hour for each instance that you have running. So in a pandemic situation, if you have to keep all of your workers home for 10 days, the cost for running your entire customer side operation on Amazon EC2, we're estimating about 20 instances for 10 days, would only be $500. So you can bring all of your in-house servers over to the intranet side, free up bandwidth for people coming in through the VPN and accessing that your employees at home. It can also serve as a full backup again if your office is hit by an asteroid.
For data standards, we would recommend that you definitely should implement them. The Accord forms are industry standard in the U.S. In terms of implementing, we would recommend that requirements be set company-wide that every user needs to stand by, and an oversight committee should be formed to oversee and promote the use of these standards. It provides data uniformity as well as integration with outside carriers, and provides a framework for the future. We think that's important your company be ready for working with outside carriers and agents as you grow, different carriers, maybe mergers and acquisitions. So our software was developed with this kept in mind to make for easier integration in general.
This is just basically a web service diagram. Again, for the judges, this is available in your packet. It's about the third or fourth page. This just basically says you can have mobile users, people on laptops, people on standard computers, tunneling in through the VPN, accessing the internal application server. It shows some of the security features of the external application server, and sort of you can visually see a little bit better the load balancing that we've sort of built in with the Amazon service. Your traffic is backed up to your database, and your files are backed up often to Amazon via an SSL link.
For connectivity, we recommend that you get the Verizon Ethernet dedicated line. The solution we are suggesting is scalable up to 50 megabits per second. We recommend starting at 10 megabits per second. There are other facilities that include a 50 megabit up to 1 gigabit per second connection, and this is scalable on demand, so you can call up Verizon and say, I need to up my connection to 20 megabits per second, and they do that. For your mobile users, we recommend 3G wireless cards from Verizon. Verizon is notable for reliability and coverage. And then all network cable would be Cat6 cable.
As far as IT staffing, we recommend you have a department head that receives an annual salary of $80,000. He or she is responsible for delegating tasks as well as managing the people underneath them. The web administrator will receive a salary of about $60,000 and is responsible for maintaining the website as well as the Unix servers. 4 IT workers underneath will receive about $45,000 salary, and they should have basic knowledge of all the hardware and be able to troubleshoot any common problems as well as minor updates or changes that are needed. Outsourcing should be used for major development projects or when the staffing isn't sufficient, and the purchased same-day Juniper support plans we have will be used when extra expertise is needed.
One final thing I'd like to mention is in your third page of your packet is a schedule of construction. One of the first things on it is a deadline to order the Verizon. Pretty much if we would like to start putting cable into the ground at the same time as construction, we have to pretty much get on that by the beginning of June and let Verizon know. The other major things about this is we would like to install the Verizon cable, the construction, as well as installing cable in the building all at the same time. And once construction is done, we'll begin installing the hardware over a series of a month and a half about. And this gives plenty of time to go over a little bit, push things back, and still be able to finish everything before opening day and move in. So if there's any questions, we'll be able to take them now.
Yeah, I get two.
Yep.
One's more technical related. and the other one's more of a business standpoint. What you said about cloud computing, we're not that familiar with Amazon service and what their feature set is. Cloud computing is something that gets thrown around the industry a lot. It's a major corporate buzzword right now. The idea, as I understand it, is the data exists in the cloud. You get it when you need it. You may not necessarily be able to pinpoint it. Unfortunately, a lot of the legal ramifications or legal laws haven't caught up with that. So if you have social security numbers, credit card information, you need to know where that data is stored and what level of access controls to that. What type of, I guess, guarantee does Amazon have with that control?
They allow you root access to your server, so you can configure it exactly as you want. So basically, it's as ironclad as you make it. A lot of as far as the laws and regulations surrounding that, a lot of corporate entities actually are using Amazon EC2 and S3 to actually supplement their infrastructure right now to actually make them HIPAA compliant, rather than the other way around. I mean, it's understandable the concern with that, but again, it's as secure as you make it, and the backup is actually a key part of a lot of regulations. So.
And my other question was, you said that the Juniper router is going to be used as your edge and internally. What happens if it goes down? What happens as far as the traffic inside the building in between the different parts?
Can we go back to the design slide?
Yeah.
If that server goes down, that basically takes care of everything, but that's why we built in so much redundancy into it. There, again, like I said, it's got redundant switching fabrics, it's got redundant routing engines, and it's got 4 different power supplies. It's being fed by a UPS, which is also being fed by a diesel generator. So we believe that there's a significant amount of redundancy we built in.
Yeah, let me just ask, I'd like to go back to the cloud too, because I think that's kind of something that's interesting to all of us, because even though my company does have a cloud computing, cloud storage division, it's not clear how it's being marketed to the world or how it's being used. So when I look at your diagram here, is this just being used for backup?
It's being used, let me go to the diagram for that. But that is being used for backup and extra web server instances.
So there would have to be a replication of your business applications running on servers at Amazon to be able to support that, is that correct?
Yes, that's true.
And so is the intention to move everything out to Amazon?
It's possible to do that.
Because we talked about redundancy, which means that it sounds like then there's a set of computing resources within the local office that your IT folks are managing, and then you run into all kinds of issues with data synchronization and so on, keeping the information at the redundant site consistent with the data that at the local site.
Yes.
And then once you go out of your DR kind of environment, you have to resynchronize that. Is there applications that support that Amazon provides?
Yes. The idea would be we budgeted in some money to actually build the web application for this, and the way it would be configured is the backups over at Amazon would be basically the same business logic as is in the internal application server and on the external application server. The database and file server would be backed up not quite as often, and primarily what would happen is it would be used for load balancing over you would direct some of your traffic over at the cloud at Amazon, and then that would go through the firewall and access the database and file server internal to the network.
Do you need real-time synchronization to do that?
You do not.
Real-time data synchronization?
No, not for the application logic. It like the program files. would be at Amazon, and those would not necessarily be updated very often.
Okay. But the
I'm
data
talking like the actual program,
I
like
was looking at
Ruby
it
on
from the
Rails.
standpoint of the transactional data, where that's stored, and how it's maintained in a consistent state so that you can move from one environment to the other, especially if you're looking at it for load, for dual operation, for load balancing versus even just, hot switching. That becomes a very difficult thing to do, unless there's built into it synchronization technology.
Yes, there is. It would be primarily the application logic over at Amazon would still point to the internal file server, the internal database,
Okay.
and basically.
What database are you using?
Either MySQL or SQLite. SQLite is easier to back up, so you could use that over there. The application would have support for basically any database. The idea would be that we built in Ruby on Rails, which is database agnostic, so you can actually have different database platforms at different locations, and you can just basically point at it with different adapters. It's built for running multiple different server instances in different locations and pointing them at the same database. It's basically abstracted away. For more technical.
Yeah, I had one question. In terms of wireless, in general, there are a lot of different vendor products in the solution. Certainly, if you've stuck with Juniper for the core architecture, the firewalls, the routers, the unified access control, you've chosen to use a different vendor for wireless than what's part of what Juniper usually recommends. You've also got a different vendor for voice. I perfectly understand your justification, but I'm just curious, what was your reasoning behind? I don't want to necessarily make it sound like a bad thing. You made some good choices and you've justified your recommendations, but you're saddling us with a small organization having to manage a lot of different vendor products. Where you've certainly chosen for the core architecture one vendor, which will make it simple for us to manage, router switches, firewalls, etc., and UAC. But I'm concerned about all the peripheral recommendations. What was behind that reasoning? What was your main driver behind the choice of those vendors? I mean, like for example, your Apple Xserve. It's a great product, but why Xserve? It's a new operating system. It's Linux. It's not, what operating system are you planning on having us run on this, this box? This is what I'm getting at. Do you understand the question?
Yes. Well, the justification specifically for the Xserve is that it's a Unix-based system, well, Unix and BSD-based.
Right.
So that actually, the core system has been around for a while, a long while, more than the current Windows kernel has going for it. But also for the wireless system, the wireless access point was basically that the driver for that was cost.
Okay. And what about the phone system?
And the phone system, the primary driver for the phone system was its web-based switchboard. That was what we felt it gave it an edge over the other competing services.
Thank you.